All right, guys, we're back to work on the Oklahoma license plate guitar. The last I saw you, I was putting these matchbooks on the neck. Now it's time to get to the headstock. I've got a part of an Oklahoma map to put on here. I've got a Route 66 badge to put on here and my tuners. Now, in order to get ready to do this, I made sure I was in the right mood, so I have my KATT Oklahoma City t-shirt on. Look how raggedy thin this is. And I also have my Bill Jackson Rig Company and my Bill Hodges Trucking Company, both companies I work for in the Anadarko Basin, Oklahoma, moving drilling rigs, which is where I got my wonderful personality. All right, there's a bunch going on here, but the first thing I want to talk to you about is I've got two boxes of tuners. One says left, one says right. You really don't want to get those confused. I did an episode about tuners, about putting them on the right way so they pull against the strings and the gears don't strip out and all kinds of things. And I will give you a link. It's up there, right about there. I'm still getting used to this camera here. But anyway, when you order tuners, it's not by the front, it's by the back, looking at the back of the neck. So if I want a left tuner, this is the left tuner. Obviously the other one is the right. If I use a left tuner over here, it's going to put in backwards and the tension's not going to be right and it's going to work loose. So remember, you look at the back of the neck when ordering tuners. So we've got that to work with. Now, you'll remember that I was all excited about getting these Route 66 badges. MGB made these for me. He's got them in stock. These are the big ones, and as I looked at the headstock, it was like, that's just a little too big for what I need. So I got a hold of Michael and asked him if he wouldn't make me some 75% size ones. Now, what I've done is, let's throw this around a little bit. I have aged this, I've painted it, took a Sharpie, darkened out the lines there, put some white and gray paint together, craft paint, and then dabbed a little bit of red on it to make it look like rust. Then I found the center of the headstock, which is right there, and measured it at, again, 19 across right here at the neck board, drew a line here, and then figured out where this was going to go, and I've already pre-drilled a couple holes there, if you can see there and there, so I can just set that down, and this will drop in right where it needs to be. So those screws are ready to go in there. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put a map of Oklahoma, a piece of a map of Oklahoma, and I need to end up with the cities Shawnee and Norman right here where you can see it. So I'm going to cover this headstock with a bit of map of Oklahoma, but before I put that on here, I need to get my holes for my tuners drilled out. So what I've done is I've come off the center point, I've taken a look at where my tuners are going to sit, centered those up, and then took this square, come off the center line. This is a slide, the slides. So I come off the center line, lined everything up, and I got my 4 holes done here now, or places to drill my holes. Now, if this wasn't here, of course, these would be higher up, but anyway, I need to make this all work right. Okay, wherever the holes are going to be, I'm going to get those marked out. I'm going to measure them a couple times, and I'm always going to drill a pilot hole. You want to remember that the bit that we're going to put these holes in, these tuner holes, because the bodies of these are so big, the hole is so big, it's this puppy right here, and I certainly don't want to sit there and go like this and have the slip or my whole headstock will be tore up. So I'm just going to drill a pilot hole right where I want these to be. Okay, there's my 4 holes, and I still really don't want to dig into it that big bit yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit bigger bit and put it on, and I'm going to come over from the back side where my holes are, and I'm going to drill these out a little bit and then come in from the top and do the same thing before I hit it with this big one. Then I'm going to flip this over and do the same thing. There we go. I've got everything going in from both sides. The wood isn't too tore up. Now I can use the big bit. Again, I'm going to go down a bit on this side and then drill through from the top the rest of the way through. Almost forgot to tell you, you really want to have the clutch set down on this big one, because if it digs in, there's going to be a problem. You can see I've gone down just a little bit here. Here's the last one. See, it wants to dig, and if I would have had it set up all the way, it would have just tore something out. So now I'm going to flip this over and drill through. Yeah, now these are big holes, and watch how this bit wants to dig in. So when I get close, I'm just going to flip it around backwards, smooth the hole out, and go in at it real slow. There we go. Again, see my episode about tuners, and you're going to find that these are fairly economical. They're heavy built. In fact, they're the most economical. But these slip up in here, and then they have a piece that fits down in threads over here. So I'm going to sand this down. This will be ready, and then I can draw out where my map is going to go over this. Okay, I got a pack of these maps on eBay, 7 or 8 of them for about 10 bucks. I'm going to give a shout out to the person that sold them to me once this guitar is done and show them what happened. But I've got Norman and Shawnee in Oklahoma City right here. So I want this to show up somewhere here, but my badge here, my Route 66 badge is going to be up here. So I'm going to need these to be about right here. So I'm going to line this up. Shawnee's right there. Norman is right there. Do I see them through the holes on this? Let's slip that down a little bit, like so. And then this is no big deal. I just line this up. I take my trusty election pencil. You got to have one of those. And then I just draw around like this, all the way down. Like so. And then I'm going to cut this out, and when I turn this over, that is going to fit right on here. I will Mod Podge this on here and get this set. Of course, I'm going to know where my holes are, and I'm going to know where these holes are. But once that's Mod Podged on here and got good coats on, it comes down to right here where I'm going to put my nut. That graphic is, I still have to do the nut here and cut it off. It'll look more like this one. It needs to be up a little bit. See there? But that graphic is going to come right to here and fit here real nice. And then I can start putting stuff on here. Of course, can't forget I'm going to have Tammy sign the back right here. Okay, we're just staying just a little bit outside of that pencil line right there. There we go. So I've gotten this really close up here. There's just a tad bit hanging over the end like that. At the end, see that? Bunch more on the sides, that's okay. Because once this is on here and the Mod Podge sets up, but what I am going to do right here is make a line here. Can you see that? I'm going to cut that off, and then I'm going to Mod Podge this on here. All right, I'm going to take a little piece of sandpaper here and make sure that everything is smooth around these holes. In fact, I'm just going to roll this up like so until it fits in here. Put those in here and make sure the tops of those holes are nice and smooth. I want the paper to hang up when it comes time to carve those out. But anyway, everything is smooth. I'm taking a small brush and I'm putting Mod Podge around here like so. I'm not going to worry about those nail or those holes there for the badge. I'll be able to find those with an awl or something like that because I know where they're at. I'm not going to put Mod Podge right here because my nut is going to go there and we're going to cut the paper away. So I don't want anything under it. And I also don't want to fill these holes up too much right here. Again, this is all in the graphics episode. So there we go. That's set. Now I'm just going to take this, center it up on the curve, and go just a tad over. I want to look here and make sure. I'm going to erase these lines, but I'm going to turn it over and make sure that I got plenty sticking out there on all sides to do what I need to do. Again, there's nothing here, so I'm just going to lay this down like so and get everything like this. Now, I don't want to touch this. I don't want to coat the top of it. I don't want to do anything until this is dried. Once this is dry, I'm not going to cut the sides. I am going to put a couple coats on here that will stiffen this up, and then I can take a razor knife and cut that out. It will also make it easy for me to press down through these holes and get them right. This is funny. I used to move drilling rigs around in here, and these were big drilling rigs that would drill 25, 30,000 feet deep. It's kind of funny looking at this map. But anyway, that's it. When this dries up, I'll show you what it looks like. Hey guys, welcome to lunch. The last I talked to you, we had put Mod Podge on the neck and put this piece of map over it and lined it up where we needed. Of course, there's some overlap here. We're going to cut that off in a bit here. But you can see I've put the 66 badge on here. I've marked off in here underneath where this is going to be black under here, so there's some contrast here. When I take this off, I'm also going to blacken the edge here. I can use a marker for both of those tasks to give me some better distinction between the map and the badge. Now I've taken a pencil and come in from the bottom on my tuner holes, gone through the center and pushed up like this in each one of these, so there's a distinct hole here on top. Now I'm going to take this off and I'm going to put my first coat of Mod Podge on the top before I try to do any trimming here or on the sides here, because this paper will get very stiff with the Mod Podge on it. It'll be easier to take a surgical scalpel and cut this nice and clean. So let's get a coat of Mod Podge on this. Okay, so we'll pop that off, and I can see the 66 is right there. So I'm just going to basically go over this whole area right here, not just trying to color in the numbers themselves, but more so to get the area blocked in and blacked in, so the emblem sits over that and is blocked off. You see that? That looks a lot better. Now our marker's dried where it won't smear, and we're just going to take a little Mod Podge. Remember, our neck nut for a neck is going to be right there, so I don't want to put that all the way up. But I'm just going to go over this whole thing with a coat of Mod Podge, and that's going to stiffen everything up for us to do the trim work we need to do. I don't want to forget to do the black underneath, because that'll give us a little gloss when all this dries. But let's let this dry. I'm going to give it one more coat after this to let things stiffen up. All right, there we go. You can tell it's got a sheen to it, meaning the Mod Podge is dry. Now I'm going to take the end of my little surgical cutter here, and I'm going to go into these holes where I poked a pencil through and move these back and forth like so. Find the other one right there. Wiggle this back and forth. And I'm going to let that dry a little bit more, and then I'm going to take the end of this and then go around and cut that out. But now that I've got some Mod Podge on here, let me get the angle of this right. I can just take this knife here and cut into this and then slide it all the way down like this and clean up these edges. Alright, now that I've got most of my trim work done, I'm going to put another coat or two of Mod Podge on here. Again, we don't want to get it down into the holes too much. And this is what's going to protect this paper from coming off in the long term, so don't be shy about putting a few coats on there. Alright, we're putting the 66 badge back on and tightening that up. And I think that the darkening those edges really helped out there. And now let's move on to the tuners. All right, we got Tammy's signature right there, so we're going to take a little bit of clear and make sure that that signature is protected before we put our tuners on. There we go. Yeah, we'll get a couple coats on there to make sure it's good and protected. And while we're there, we'll just do, there we go. All right, we got a nice finish on the back of the neck and headstock, and the front of it is looking pretty good. So we're going to put these tuners on, and I've picked black tuners because they'll give us a nice contrast. So let's get those in. All right, I like the way that looked. I'm going to use these silver contrasting screws to hold these on. I'm going to flip it over first though and put the top retainers in. Yeah, I really like these tuners. They've got this threaded piece and that washer that fits over there, and you just screw these down and tighten them up, and they're really durable and built tough. So I'll tighten these up a little bit and then make sure they're straight. Put the screws on in the back. All right, all of our screws are in, and make sure we hand tighten them. All right, there we go. Tammy's signature on the back. I think it turned out pretty good. A little bit dark in the shop, but hey, you're going to see this headstock in an upcoming episode about an Oklahoma themed license plate guitar. So this will pop up again. Hey, thanks for watching me. Thanks Michael Breedlove for hooking me up with this stuff and being creative. And when I ask for something, you're always able to use your imagination and your tools to make something really cool. I think that's really cool. Anyway, my email is going to come up here in a minute. I've got a subscribe button. If you subscribe, hit the bell so you get notified when I release a video. And my playlists are there for you. So, see you next time.